I am a riddle, an enigma that resides in the dark corners of your mind. Some may say, I live in the hidden recesses of your closet. Others believe I lurk beneath your dreams. But you have learned to quiet my thirst for self-destruction by tiptoeing through your thoughts before bed. My existence is debatable, and my actions are justifiable depending on who controls the narrative. Am I the monster inside, the one born from our own experiences rather than childhood stories? Do I truly exist, or am I a figment of imagination? What life events awaken this creature within us? Some may claim monsters are not real, but try telling that to those who battle their own insecurities, concealing them as strengths. This internal monster causes chaos and disrupts our emotional well-being. What happens when we refuse to take responsibility for creating this creature? Let me tell you a story. Nestled deep in the valley, hidden among the rolling hills and lush grasslands of a small farming community, sat a quaint cottage. Its walls were painted a warm shade of green, blending seamlessly with its surroundings of vibrant pastures that stretched for miles. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers and the gentle sound of livestock grazing. This little homestead was a sanctuary of abundance, blessed by fertile fields and bountiful gardens. But despite the promise of a plentiful harvest, there would be no feasting on fresh vegetables picked from the garden, nor gathering of soft wool from the animals who grazed in the pastures. For this year, the gifts of Mother Nature would go untouched, because actions can disrupt the natural balance of Mother Nature. A piercing scream echoes from the cottage as a woman stumbles out of the front door. She falls to her knees and then onto her stomach, attempting to crawl away. But her legs are badly bitten, rendering her escape futile. Suddenly, a wolf appears, looming over her with an ominous aura. He takes a moment to observe her before speaking. "Such a cruel world we live in," he says sympathetically as he licks the tears from her eyes. "I can sense your pain, but your emotional turmoil is beyond my understanding." He apologizes for subjecting her to his insatiable thirst for blood and the madness that consumes his thoughts. "I never understand why man would pretend to separate himself from nature, nurturing this lie and seeking to impose domestication on all other life forms. This disease gets passed down through generations. The belief that humans are privileged creatures meant to dominate and control the natural world. Man views nature as a commodity to exploit by domesticating other living creatures. The woman cries out for God's help, and the wolf responds, "God is with both of us, and I am the messenger. I offer you salvation from man, so that you will never have to endure the perverse nature of mankind again." The woman's cries turn into gurgles as her throat is torn open, the sound of her gasping for air mixing with the growls and snarls of the wolf as he sinks his teeth deeper, silencing her cries. Without looking back, he retreats into the cottage and settles on the floor. The wolf's face remains emotionless as he listens to the woman's last breaths. "This world is cruel indeed," said the wolf, shaking his head in dismay. The sound of pain echoed through the cottage door. A man comes rushing in, surprised to find a wolf waiting for him. Fear consumed him, and his sense of time and space disappeared. He wanted to reach for his gun, but the weight of his loss held him back. The wolf sensed the man's desire for revenge and took pleasure in it. Unfortunately, it wasn't just his desire for blood that led the wolf to this moment. The man's actions led the wolf here, now lying on the bearskin rug as if he was finding a familiar comfort. I remember a bear who lived near the river, feasting on salmon during mating season and enriching the land with its remains. This allowed for plants to grow and provide food for rabbits and deer, sustaining my family's survival. But one day, the bear went missing and our resources dwindled. I ventured out alone, searching for prey on the other side of our forest while my family stayed behind. When I returned, they were gone. For several months, I followed a scent that led me far from our pack's territory. We were always warned never to cross into the world of humans, so why would my family venture to such a forbidden place? But as I approached a small road, the scent grew stronger, and I couldn't resist following it. To my surprise, I stumbled upon a young girl. I was confused, so I hid in the nearby pasture and watched her. As I got closer, I realized something terrible. The clothing she wore was made from the skins of my children. My madness took over, and she became an innocent bystander. The young girl stood frozen, her face a mix of fear and confusion when I lunged towards her. From your expression, I can tell she was someone important to you. Your daughter, perhaps. Yes, her death was not as merciful as that of your wife. The rage within me consumed me as I bit deep into her face, savoring the taste of the berries she had picked until she was no longer recognizable. This part of my story brings me great sorrow. As I continued to follow the scent, it led me to a charming cottage, hidden away from the world. Surrounded by livestock, I couldn't resist killing them one by one. That's when I noticed her, a woman tending to her garden. When she heard the animals' cries, she came out to investigate. But by then, it was too late. All the animals were dead. She ran into the cabin but forgot to close the back door behind her. I took advantage of this and attacked, but she managed to break free. She made it to the front door before I could catch her. As you can see, my handiwork speaks for itself, and the rest is history. You must be thinking that killing me now would bring you satisfaction. I'm glad you feel this way. It shows the monster within you. It's amusing how humans believe they have surpassed their animal instincts, but we are all cut from the same cloth. The only difference is that humans can kill for sport, like hunting bears for trophies. Was that bear's life used to feed your family, or was it for displaying your dominance? Humans are masters of illusions and children of stupidity. They have wasted their free will and determined to play God, consuming one world and trying to control another. Free will has made humans purposeless creatures. They have forgotten the true meaning of survival. But as a wolf, my purpose is simple: survive. Being weak and vulnerable is a gift that you have bestowed upon me, but yet nobody wants to truly understand my perspective. No matter how this plays out, humans will always control the narrative, depicting me as the ruthless predator who killed the hunter's family while ignoring my own struggles to survive in a world orchestrated by human desires. As the hunter reached for his gun, the wolf lunged at him, and a gunshot echoed from inside the cottage. Silence fell upon the cottage, and the air became heavy with the stench of blood and the lingering scent of gunpowder. The wolf lay motionless on the floor, a single bullet penetrating its heart, and the man stood over its lifeless body, a mix of relief and sorrow etched on his face. In the wake of the tragedy, the man couldn't help but question his own actions. Was this monster within him truly responsible for the wolf's death, or was it just a result of nature's cruelty? The screams of his beloved wife and precious daughter as they drew their last breaths. The image will replay endlessly in his mind, a torturous loop from which there was no escape. The screams reverberating through his soul like echoes trapped in an endless canyon. He had failed them utterly when it mattered most. Their lives were the price he paid for his transgressions, his naivete, his hubris. And their echoing screams would ensure he never forgot the catastrophic cost of his failures as a husband and father. He was damned to relive their dimming breaths for eternity. Deep in thought, the man realized that their shared fate of struggling to survive in this world was more connected to laws of nature. What is your perspective?